Hi, lovely Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. This reading is timeless, so it will apply to you when you find it or when it finds you. It is a general reading, so not everything is necessarily going to apply. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising. And with that, let's get into it. All right. What messages want to come through for Aquarius? Aquarius, I hope that you allow yourself to be fully excited. I hope that you release your mind from its constant analysis of maybe why you shouldn't be excited yet or how things could go wrong. I hope that you find peace in your spirit. I hope you see your future with clarity. I hope you allow yourself to feel good, to feel warm, to feel loved, protected, cuddled. I hope you realize that people know your form of love and that they feel it. Hope you know that people understand you more than you think that they do, and that you find comfort in that. All right. All right, Aquarius, I feel a lot of activity in my mind, aka your mind. There is so much activity. There's like a million ideas popping off everywhere. I love it. Are you writing it down? No, because there's so many ideas and they're coming so fast that you can't write it down. All right, maybe you've written down a few. But the ones you've written down aren't even your best ones. So, you know what you could do is you could just record yourself saying your ideas out loud. And that way you don't have to stop and pause and write them down and take that like slow time to write things down. It got blurry again. There we go. Okay. What other messages want to come through for Aquarius? Aquarius, sometimes you can be a visionary and you don't always know how to execute. I know you think you do, but I don't know. I'm not getting that is necessarily accurate. Maybe you're really good at that with smaller projects, but when it comes to bigger things, you lose sight. You lose sight of the bigger picture, you lose sight of the vision, or you become too visionary, and it's hard for you to really ground what you're trying to create. See, look, it got blurry. See, we're trying to talk about grounding. Okay. All right. So what do you do about that? Well, you could figure out your big projects and turn them into little projects, and then you're able to execute. I think if you're going to use that method, that you should also have a very good tracking system where you track your progress, you mark something off on your calendar, your to-do list. Were my other videos this blurry? Sorry, guys. Yeah, because it will allow you to get that little dopamine hit every time that you're able to like fill in a box of something that you did. And that will keep you going, because with bigger projects, even if you break them down into little ones, you might, again, lose sight of the bigger one unless you are tracking and filling in boxes each time and getting that dopamine hit. I'm also getting something about coffee. You would think it'd be don't drink so much of it, but honestly, I think it's like either sustain or you could have a little bit more. Obviously, I am not a doctor, and I personally do not really drink caffeine, so this is not advice that I would necessarily give to people. So take that however you will. It does not mean that you should go out and do that. Don't go out and drink more coffee necessarily, or even sustain it if you're doing too much. But for some reason, something about coffee is coming up. Maybe your best ideas are over coffee. Maybe you need to go to a coffee shop. I don't know what that is, so we're going to leave that and move on. Were all of my videos this blurry? Like, I know some of them were for like parts of it, like in the beginning, but they never stayed like this. Hold on. I don't think that helped. Okay, maybe when we start looking at the cards, it'll start focusing, because right now it might feel like it's dark. Okay, sorry guys. All right, moving on. Let's look at the cards. That is blurry. I don't think the other ones were that bad. Okay, look, we got some clarity. Some clarity. Okay, it's clearing up a little bit. Okay, good. Awesome. Aquarius, do you have a business idea that you want to do? Like, is that something that is starting to become of interest to you? Like, you would like to have your own business or create something in that way? Because you should go for it. You should go for it. There are going to be some skills you need to learn, especially with regards to people interaction. But honestly, one, you could learn it. Two, with so much like awareness around things like neurodiversity and mental health, pretty much like the world of acceptance is out there. So, and people are a lot more understanding now. So you probably don't even have to change that much. But I do think you will need to learn some things about people in terms of like psychology and how to interact and that kind of thing. All right. Aquarius, you may be holding on very tightly to your money. Maybe you have reasons for that, but also maybe you don't. Maybe you tend to be very, very tight with your money in general and you don't actually live your life. And you may actually be impacting other people around you with that kind of financial way about you, to where it's creating, it's maybe creating a sense of the other person or people not feeling loved or not feeling cared for, or just wishing things could be different, once in a while. So there may be something around that. And it is by the Tower. And so I wasn't sure what that was before, but it could be that you will need to have some kind of realization or revelation around this aspect. And it can come in a really harsh and quick way unless you get ahead of it. So if this is resonating, or if there's some area in your life, it doesn't have to be finances, where you are being stingy, I guess is the word I will use. Maybe it's stingy with money. Maybe it's stingy with how much affection you share. Maybe it's stingy with the level of action that you put into something. Start assessing, start figuring out what this is. Deal with it head on so it does not become something that crumbles. Yeah. And if that bothers you, because you're like, no, this is the way that I am. See, that's where you're going to have to learn about people. But if you're like, this is the way that I am, you need to be looking at what you can gain, okay? And what you're going to lose if you don't do something a little bit different, okay? Remember that we're all here to evolve. And yes, you have control over how you want to evolve, but be open. This is a Tower thing, but it does feel pretty minor. Like, it feels very much in your range of being able to handle it. So most Towers are very shattering. Speaking from experience. This one does not feel like it's totally shattering. It feels like it could lead to some kind of disagreement, but that disagreement can be resolved. But definitely, like, better to get ahead of these things. Aquarius, you may need to be connecting to spirit a little bit more than you have been. For some of you, you might never have really connected, and this is something very new for you. And you haven't done it before. And so it might feel a little bit awkward, weird, because it's just not been the way that you've thought about things before, but you want to try something different, explore something different. Maybe something in your reality has made you be more open to this. So either way, if you haven't been doing it or haven't been doing it very often, Spirit is definitely wanting to share. Well, actually, I really feel like they want to hear from you. They may have other things to share with you, but I think they really just want to hear from you. You may be overly focused on something and it is not serving you. So it could be something very like simple. It could be like you're obsessing over a TV show. Like you keep thinking about it. For some reason, it's just like stuck in your brain. And it's not really serving you because maybe what the show is about or what you're thinking about isn't necessarily productive or just isn't really going to get you anywhere, or you're just like too caught up in it and not really focusing on things in front of you. So yeah, just kind of be aware of something that you are overindulging in, because it may also lead to the tower. So I'm not sure what the tower is. The tower is one of those things that a lot of times you don't know what it is until it happens. But it's showing up, which says that there's something that you could figure out in advance. You do tend to get in your own way, Aquarius. So stop. Yeah, you do tend to get in your own way. You get very stuck in your ways. And that can be very challenging sometimes for people that are around you. And if you sometimes wonder why things are not as smooth as they could be, or why nobody seems to understand you, it is because you are not understanding them. Now, at the beginning of this, I think I said something around how you are more understood than you realize. That is true. And that's why things have not completely crumbled. Okay? But if you want things to be smoother, be open to evolution. And I think there's a lot that's going to turn in your favor, which is interesting because we have the tower, so you would think it'd be the opposite. But actually, it's feeling good to me. Also, I feel like you need to get out more. You may be a very social person, but I feel like you need to get out more. And maybe in a very particular way. Maybe you need to go to some kind of event that's really big that you normally wouldn't go to because maybe you don't like crowds. Just example. But I feel like maybe you need to get out more in some way. Or maybe you used to be really social and you haven't really gone out for a drink in a long time, and it's time that you start doing that more often. All right, Aquarius. That wraps up your reading. Yep, that's everything that wants to come through. Thank you so much as always, and I will catch you in the next one.